let's take a look at Carlsen Wang Hao, because this was another classical game. Sorry, there's a question here. Mr. Tambourine Man says Vacher was afraid as black, I guess, after f3 d5 and didn't take the pawn. Okay, sorry, I'm just going to deal with this. So this is a question on this, which attempts to kind of sidestep the Grunfeld. Well, it's another kind of Grunfeld, really. And you can get some funny positions like this. Vacher was afraid of d5, of e4 here, and didn't take that pawn in a rapid game. You can find in Mega Database. I think it'd have been I'm very confused about that variation. Anyway, it's just another line. F3 is just another line. It's quite trendy at the moment. It doesn't mean to say it's good or it's bad. It's just another line. Okay, I'm going to look at Carlsen Wang Hao now. So this was a Caro-Kann, and Carlsen played e5. Bishop f5. Wang Hao's opening here, I think, was really disappointing. Basically, Carlsen just got everything you want from this opening. Of course, after White plays e5, then it's a kind of French defense, this structure, except this bishop, which is normally in the French on c8, is outside the pawn chain. Now, some people think it means this position is totally playable for black. But if you can manage to get this bishop and hold your centre as Carlsen did, then White just has a beautiful French position. Beckett74 says Wang Hao chose an incredibly passive approach. I agree. He didn't really challenge Carlsen's opening at all. Excuse me, just 1 second. I mean, if you're going to play like this, then you could at least try to excuse me, you could at least try to keep the bishop. And I don't know, it's just off the top of my head, make sure you retain this bishop. Weisserläufer says, why didn't black play queen b6? I suppose you can play queen b6, it's not the end of the world for white. It's just something else. I don't know what you do. Queen c1 maybe? Or b3, I don't know. It's just another move. But, whatever. Black should have played better than he did in the game. Just watch what happened. Okay, taking the bishop. Excellent move. It seemed as though Wang Hao was completely at sea. It's funny, he's curious. I find him a curious player to assess. Sometimes he plays very, very well. His game against Ponomaryov was an excellent win. But in games like this, he seems completely at sea strategically, actually. And I think after this, then White already has a big advantage. Of course, you still have to win the game. But basically, White has a nice space advantage. Normally in the French, you try to offset that because you can maybe attack on the queen side. But it's very difficult to attack on the queen side when White has this light squared bishop controlling some very useful squares. In the meantime, White has very good chances on the other side of the board. So let's see what happened. White has a really simple plan. You're going to play h4, king here, and what Carlsen did in the game. Basically, you can break open the king side. The other thing is that very often in the French, White plays to attack the pawn on e5 with f6, but here that would seriously weaken g6 and e6. When there's no light squared bishop, curiously it makes black's pawn structure more static, less dynamic. With a light squared bishop, sometimes you can get away with this move, but not here really when the pawn becomes so weak. Okay, so let's just rattle on and see how this game ended. Very nice from Carlsen. He's actually using the queen side himself, so it means he can now sometimes use the open A file. So black really is not getting decent counterplay on the queen side. Okay, Wang Hao closed the position, and this gives... I mean, I understand why he played c4, because this bishop is often very unpleasant for black to deal with. But after this, white does have a free hand on the king side. Okay, let's just see what happens. Okay, really simple play. White is threatening either knight takes or bishop takes with an absolutely crushing attack. So black has to take. And now, incredibly simple. So you just move the rook across and you're threatening h5, breaking open the position. And this bishop, well, both bishops are wonderful pieces. This bishop on g5 obviously has no opponent. It means black's king is in a really poor position. So, black can't even try to open the position on the queen side because white has all these beautiful open files, so the king is dreadful. And of course, if the king goes this side, then it's mate automatically. So, I mean, strategically, I think black is lost. I think what's impressive is that Carlsen makes it look so smooth. And Magnus Carlsen has often been compared to Bobby Fischer in his, in that his games are often so fluent, so sort of crystal clear, the strategy, and I think this is a prime example of that. In this position, Carlsen took on f7, and this is simply a winning sacrifice. Of course, if queen takes bishop, then rook takes rook, and that's that. So you have to play king takes, and now this is a winning move. King must go back to protect the rook. Rook check and queen h5, and there is absolutely no defense to white's attack. It's so simple. Basically, black's pieces are on the wrong side of the board. It's as simple as that. It's sheer weight of numbers. This was played, and now, okay, there's such a beautiful, simple winning move here. If you start checking like crazy, well, you don't get very far. But this is a beautiful winning move, and here black resigned. First thing, if takes, then check, and well, we pick up the queen on c7. Actually, a very, very common kind of tactic for these kingside attacks, where you skewer the king and queen. And otherwise, well, let's say queen, I don't know, well, queen here, then we give a check. That's, checking is no good actually, and the king escapes, but a simple winning move, you play queen g6. So you don't chase the king out. All you're doing is you're threatening rook h7. So, okay, for example, and there's no defense actually. Rook h7 threatening g7, and now queen h5. And that is mate on h8. A very, very common attacking idea where you play queen g6, rook h7, and then you put the queen back on h5 where it covers these squares. So absolutely beautiful, simple, clear win by Carlsen. It's funny that Vachier, Legrave and Carlsen almost seem to play in quite a similar classical way. I really like those games.